Hi, I'm Ross, Lifetime Natural Bodybuilder. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this short video, I'm going to give you 7 simple steps that can quickly heal a pec strain. A pec strain or tear is a condition characterised by either a partial or complete tear of the pec minor or pec major muscle. Predominantly, it's going to happen on pushing movements, horizontal pushing movements, more than likely the barbell bench press. Either flat bench or incline, decline pressing with a barbell seems to be the most high risk for pec strains. There are 3 grades of tear. Grade 1, which is very minor, no loss of function. Grade 2, which would be slight loss of function, quite painful. That's typically the most common. And grade 3, which would probably require surgery, complete rupture of the entire pec, generally very serious. Most, as I said, strains tend to be either 1 or 2. So it may feel like a sharp, sudden pain around the armpit area where the pec attaches to the shoulder, almost as if there's some strings that kind of detach, almost feels like they're popping out of place. It's quite a unnerving feeling, and that's a pec strain. So I'm going to go through the steps now of what you should do if this happens, how you can get back into the gym and training properly as soon as possible. Okay, so step 1 is stop. Immediately stop what you're doing. Don't do any further reps. Don't do any further push training for that session. Depending on how severe it is, you might be able to do some back training or leg training, maybe some very light arm training, but bicep curls and push downs tend to be quite uncomfortable, so I'd advocate steering away from those. But it may be something that you can do, just lift very cautiously. Definitely no more horizontal pressing. That's the first step, so don't further aggravate the injury. I should note that it's really down to your own judgment as to whether you can do any exercises during that session immediately after a pec strain. It might be comfortable enough to do some light back or arm work or legs, but err on the side of caution, and if you have to, just rest completely. So the next point is rest. It's very important what you do in those first 1 to 2 days after a pec strain. If you have a physical job, maybe consider taking some time off. It'll be worth it in the long run. Just don't do anything that aggravates it. And you're going to spend the entirety of those first 2 to 3 days really focusing on rehab, which we're going to go to next. Try to stay positive. It's going to feel really, really bad initially, and your movement might be hindered. Basic stuff like washing, pouring a kettle, stuff like that. It's going to feel really uncomfortable, but you'll be amazed at how quickly it can recover if you follow these steps. So stay very positive. Now, icing is the first step in your kind of rehab protocol. You're going to do this prior to the massage. So follow the technique that I'm showing now with the ice cube, and just rub it on there at the tender area until the ice cube melts. It's probably going to take 5 minutes or so. After icing, you move on to the massage, again using the technique that I've shown here. You want to apply some kind of force into the soft tissue. This is not a light massage. You're really trying to dig your fingers in. It's going to be painful and will feel uncomfortable, and that's good. Over time, the pain should diminish. It might become maybe perhaps a little bit numb. But with each session you do, it should become a little less painful. And you're going to do this 3 times a day for 3 days if you can. For those first 3 days post pec strain, and that will help so much. After about 3 days, you should start to notice some significant improvements, and you might want to try some light stretching of the pec. Your real basic one is forearm up against a door frame and then just pushing in slightly to open up that pec area. You might want to try some foam rolling, gentle foam rolling on the pec, delt, lat, just kind of loosen up that tissue around the pec. And I would still continue with the icing and massage, but you could maybe go back to once a day after those first 3 days. So the next step is when you can start maybe considering doing some chest exercise. Get back in the gym, depending on how it feels. And this could be shorter than 5 to 7 days. It could be longer, depends how severe it is. Generally speaking, I think by that 7-day mark, you should be considering maybe doing some light chest work. And the first thing you're going to do is go in the gym and do some cable flies. Find a trajectory that suits you best and that's more comfortable. It really depends on kind of each person really. For me, I prefer the downwards trajectory, where my chest is kind of parallel to the floor. That feels more comfortable and I'm able to get back into some chest work quicker doing it that way. So I do really, really lightweight for 3 sets of maybe 20 to 30 reps, and that's something for the first day. And if it feels comfortable, you can maybe go a little bit heavier, start to use maybe a smidgen more weight, but nothing too crazy for that first session. Now, I mentioned before that some arm work may be a little bit difficult. There's a lot of strain on your pecs, on curls and push downs. So in the meantime, you can still train other body parts, but just really be cautious. I wouldn't recommend back squatting, either do a front squat or like a goblet squat or maybe machine work, because the back squat is obviously still a lot of pressure on your pec in that position. But start to maybe consider training with more intensity on those other muscle groups after that 7-day period. Then after maybe another 4-5 days or so, train chest again, and this time go a little bit heavier on the pec flies, do a little bit more, and it should really start to feel quite comfortable, and the pain should have subsided quite a bit by this point. So after about 6 or 7 days, personally, I ceased doing the icing and the massage work. You can continue that if you wish. Moving on to the 2-week mark, you should really be considering maybe getting back into some light bench press or some machine pressing work rather than just the flies. So you can use a machine and use a neutral grip, palms in, which will be a lot more comfortable. Basically, you want to avoid anything with your hands flared out really, really wide. Even for your pulling movements, you want to avoid like a wide grip pull down, wide grip chins. Stick to the close kind of pulls and you'll be fine. So after that kind of 10-day mark, maybe moving into the 2-week mark, you can get back into the gym, maybe try some bench press. What I would advocate first is the technique that you're going to watch now. Pec flies using the cable, or a pec deck, machine pec deck, straight into bench press. So you're pre-exhausting the chest and then you're moving on to your bench press. There's a lot more blood in that pec and shoulder. It's going to feel a lot more comfortable, and it really minimises the amount of weight you have to lift to get a decent pump and to actually feel like you're doing some decent chest work. So that's what I would advocate. Like, just work up really, really slowly over, say, 5 sets. Start really light on the flies, and after maybe 3 sets of the flies, start adding in the pressing after. So you could go maybe 1 plate on the flies for 25, 2 plates on the flies for 20, 3 plates on the flies for 15, and then 4 plates on the flies for 15, followed by 30k on the bench, and then start taking the bench up gradually. Maybe do 6 or 7 sets. That way, you should start by this point to feel like you're getting some decent working on your chest, even though it's lighter. For me personally, I would carry on the pre-exhaust until I'm up to kind of maybe a 90% work capacity on my bench press. So it might take a few weeks, and then I'd consider maybe dropping out the flies and just doing standard bench. If you want to do that sooner, maybe after a 3-week period, then feel free to do that, but just make sure you're warming up properly. It's not uncomfortable. If it's not comfortable, then go back, maybe do some more flies, get a little bit more blood in the area before trying some bench press. Maybe tweak the grip to something that's a little bit more comfortable, or just stick to machines for maybe the first few weeks. But really, to be honest, if you follow these steps, you should be in a position where after 2 weeks, you should be able to do some fairly decent, high intensity but light chest work. After a month, you should be lifting, fairly heavy on the bench press again, getting back up to kind of where you were before. So that's the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned from it. If it was helpful, then please let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Like the video, and don't forget to subscribe to see more true natural bodybuilding videos. Thanks for watching. Links in the description box below as well for online coaching exclusively for natural bodybuilders. Thank you once again. Stay strong.